Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be doing a theory video for episode 13, Yaksi Gozen, so let's start before they release any more information and my video becomes out of date. So let's reread the synopsis. While Adrian wonders how to be as surprising as Marinette, Kagami and Felix wonder how to avoid unpleasant surprises, but supervillain will upset the plans of the four teenagers. Alrighty, so Adrian being surprising, I'm not sure if by this he wants to be more spontaneous like Marinette is, or just more comparably insane, but you know, he's up for trying new things this season. But maybe he should just, try golf or something instead. And then we have Kagami and Felix try to avoid unpleasant surprises. I'm assuming this either means Kagami's mum, something to do with her amokes, or a mixture of both. And honestly, I'm not sure if Tomoe is aware Felix and Kagami are dating. In my opinion right now, I don't think she does, but by the end of this episode, I do think she will, due to our darling Chrissy Pop. So I think the episode could start with the bodyguard going to fetch some shoe buns for Adrikins. Why he can't go to fetch them himself is beyond me. He's literally doing nothing these days apart from redecorating his bedroom, which honestly doesn't seem to be going too well. But Marinette is like, oh my god, wait, I made a personalised little bag for Adrian. She gives that to the bodyguard, which I'm assuming is a surprising thing. Adrian is talking about in the synopsis he wants to emulate her kind of behaviour for her. Which honestly I'm not sure how that's going to go, but alrighty. Meanwhile, Kagami is on FaceTime in her fancy mirror with Felix, who's about to get on the train to see her, and she meets him at the station, and I'm assuming he's in Paris the weekend as he has a bag. We also see Tomoe on the phone. Is this perhaps her being informed Kagami has been seen hugging Felix? However, I think maybe perhaps this phone call could come from the end of the episode, so we'll come back to that. So once in Paris, Kagami and Felix decide to call Marinette as Ryuko and Argos. Why they couldn't call her on the regular phones, I'm not sure, since they end up meeting in her bedroom anyway, but okay. And I saw a couple of comments under my trailer video I did saying, oh my god, Marinette's gonna know they know her identity. Honestly, besties, not gonna lie, I did think Marinette was aware after the episode's representation and the London special. I did think Marinette was already aware. I don't really think they've had a big conversation about it, but I did think she at least knew. And in regard to whether or not Tomoe knows Kagami is Ryuko, Kagami does reveal herself during the Akuma fight in Akari Gozen. However, Tomoe at the end of the Akuma battle seems to have no idea. As we know, Akuma victims don't really seem to have much memory of the fight. Sometimes, I don't know, Chloe always seemed to know what she'd done. I was very proud of herself about it. So it seems Tomoe at the end of that fight has no idea. However, Hawkmoth does say in the episode to Akari Gozen, your daughter has a Miraculous. So Gaby Baby definitely knew. He doesn't forget after the Akumas. So in Akari Gozen, Tomoe does find out, but then she forgets and she's akumatized. So does she know now? I think it's definitely possible. Gaby Baby told her during season 5 since they were allies. But so far this season she's given no indication of knowing the information. So maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I think this episode will confirm once and for all if she does or does not. So back to Kagami and Felix. They rock up at Marinette's house and take off their amokes. And to everyone in the comments under the trailer video telling me to stop lying about them being sentimonsters, because yes, it is still happening this late into the show. They are sentimonsters. I hated the episode representation too, but it did confirm it, so yeah. Anyway, regarding the amokes, I think Kagami could reasonably be worried that her mum will work out the amok she gave to Tomoe in pretension was a fake one, and will redemand her real one once she finds out Kagami and Felix are together. Or, Kagami breathes in the wrong way and annoys her mum, and Tomoe tries to control her, and it doesn't work, so she demands the real amok. However, since this very thing is, allows Kagami autonomy over all her actions, while it would be safer with Marinette than with Kagami at this present moment because of the threat of her mum, I'd understand that Kagami may be wary of leaving this with somebody else, as much as she trusts Marinette. This ring is the only reason she's able to have, full control of herself. So to kind of, reassure her, Felix offers to leave his amok too. Honestly, I don't really believe Amelie would ever use the amok against Felix. That's assuming she is aware of what happened. She's never given any indication of it. However, she doesn't get a lot of screen time, so I don't actually know if she is aware Felix is a sentimonster, since it was Colt who used the Peacock Miraculous. Not her, but perhaps she does know. But honestly, I don't think Amelie would ever use it against him. So honestly, I do think the amok for Felix is safe on him, but he would leave his ring with Marinette, so it's the same risk for the two of them. Honestly, Felix is not my favourite character, but Kagami does seem to have made him much nicer, and I do genuinely think he would do anything for her, including this. Meanwhile, Tomoe is in her office. It looks like she possibly left, and when she's come back, it has been ransacked. Things are everywhere, there are holes in the screen door. Someone has clearly been through the place. and I think we're all pretty sure it's Lila. However, what she was looking for exactly, I'm not sure. However, Lila does stay around to talk to Tomoe, and perhaps while ransacking the office, she found evidence of the existence of the council and is now blackmailing Tomoe. When we found out about the council in El Toro de Piedra, I didn't think Lila was on it, and honestly, I still don't. I think Lila and the council are two separate evil entities, so I think Lila is either going to blackmail Tomoe here to try and control her, or suggest working together. So no, Lila still technically wouldn't be on the council, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that she might work with them. However, Lila is a child. I don't think Tomoe wouldn't necessarily take her seriously at first. Like, okay, yeah, you're blackmailing me, but like, who's going to take the word of a child against me? You know, someone who is like at the forefront in the Miraculous universe of like technological innovation. Like, who's going to believe the two of us? It's going to be me, it's not going to be you. And at this point, I think Lila would tell Tomoe about Kagami and Felix's relationship. I would think Lila knows she has spies everywhere, or her akumatizing herself. I'm not sure if it's her akumatizing herself or her paying people, I'm not sure yet. So whether Tomoe trusts that Lila is telling the truth, I'm not sure. I think she would be wary, but I think the news would annoy her enough to get akumatized, and she becomes Yaksi Gozen, and as part of this whole ploy, Lila hides in her chest cavity, which is just lovely. Now, why is Lila out and about? So far this season, this is the only time we've like seen her properly out and about, and I would assume it's due to the Miraculous and the Amuks on offer here, basically. Gabriel was pretty powerful in Season 5 with a lot of Miraculous, although honestly he should have been able to win much easier if he used his brain. And honestly, Lila, in my opinion, is much more clever than Gabriel ever was. So I think she's trying to use it to her advantage, and it's like, okay, well, I can maybe use this really powerful Akuma to get Ladybug and Cat Noirs, but if Kagami and Felix are involved, I can maybe get their Amux, which is going to be amazing. And also, everyone knows that Felix is a Peacock Miraculous, the Peacock Miraculous incredibly powerful, you know? So I think Lila's going to be a lot like Gabriel. She's largely going to stay out of sight, use the Akumas, but when there's something big going on, we'll see her like this. And it does seem episode 13 mid-season, it's going to be a big deal. Every time. There always seems to be a big deal, right in the middle of the season and then right at the end. That seems to be like the most important episodes for Miraculous, largely. So I think the plot of the Akuma fight is going to be similar to Pretension, honestly. Tomoe, in her own twisted, abusive way, wants to protect Kagami and tries to take her. Kagami transforms into Ryuku and uses the water dragon to disappear into the water. Is Argos going to be fighting in this episode? Honestly, I'm not really sure, since he doesn't actually appear in the rest of the trailer. I'm really not sure, he doesn't seem to be anywhere. And in Pretension, we found out he wasn't very fond of using Amux and creating sentimonsters, just for the sake of it. But he also created a sentimonster in the shape of a projector and representation, just for the sake of it. So, I'm not really sure where his morals stand on that, to be honest. So Kagami as a water dragon wrestles her mum, but this basically is a massive ploy, so Tomoe can release the release the Chrissy Pop into the water, and she goes for a swim. So at this point, what happens next? I'm fairly certain of the episode up to there, but what happens next? So I think the first possibility is that Lila isn't actually there to fight. I think she's possibly just there to watch. Obviously, she hasn't been very successful so far in getting their Miraculous. The closest she's been is in the episode Mr. Aggress, but other than that, she hasn't been very successful. So I would assume she's possibly maybe doing a bit of research, basically, and watching from afar to see how Ladybug and Cat Noir fight, and see if she can find any evidence of their identities firsthand. The second one is possibly she's not actually there for Ladybug or Cat Noir. Maybe she's actually there to manipulate Argos. Again, she does have the upper hand with Argos, since everyone is aware who he really is, so she could find him as Felix and maybe try and bring her around to her way of thinking. Felix is definitely a unique character in that he's not particularly good or bad. He's kind of like morally grey, and he goes with whatever option kind of benefits him the most. So in Strike Back, what he did was a bad thing, but to him it was the right thing to do because it guaranteed his safety by getting the Peacock Miraculous, you know what I mean? So I do think Felix could have the potential to maybe kind of sort of work with Lila if she promises to keep him and Kagami safe, because that's what he wants the most in the world by the looks of things. And then the third option is that she does indeed join on the fight. Like I said before, episode 13 mid-season does seem to be a big deal for the Miraculous writers, with the middle of the season and the end of the season seeing like the showdowns, the biggest episodes. So maybe indeed she does fight with Ladybug and Cat Noir, and it'll be great. Although, again, I don't think Lila's aim here would be to necessarily win, just to observe and collect more data about Ladybug and Cat Noir. Although I have no doubt it's going to be absolutely fine. I think Tomoe will accept Felix, on the surface, but inside she'll be like, yeah, no, not happening. Tomoe is an Adragami shipper for life. So dead quick, back to the phone call. The episode trailers do tend to be in chronological order, but they're not always. So part of me is possibly wondering from the look of the sky in this episode. It's kind of hard to tell since I think Tomoe's office is quite high up in terms of like elevation, like it's like a skyscraper or something. Not that there's many of those in Paris, but whatever. She's obviously in Montparnasse Tower. Is she possibly on the phone at the end to like the members of the council being like, hey, this has just happened today, what do we do? Maybe, I'm not sure. This phone call definitely could take place anywhere in the episode. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the end. But I just thought I added in there, just in case it's not in the order of everything else in the trailer. Anyway, besties, that's what I think is going to happen with the information we've got so far. But I'm expecting maybe a couple more images and stuff to come out before the episode does. So of course, I will update you when we get them. So I'd love to know what you think of all of this, and I will see you in the next one.